on someone else, they got to do so, their conscience was scot-free. In fact, they're the good ones. I'm the bad guy. Okay? We'll see this as a theme. So I would like to argue that evil is the intentional harm to another or the allowance of harm to another. That's really what it seems to boil down to. Is either I intend to hurt you, or I'm going to allow you to be hurt, and I won't get in the way. Oh boy, unfortunately, with that very broad definition, we're all left tainted. There are problems going on in our neighborhoods right now. There are issues going on where people are being hurt, and we're not doing anything about it right now. Like Jordan, he's not doing anything about it. Yes, sir. I thought you were
I'm sorry, yeah. I know it's not a class, but is there a definition for evil that includes harming ourselves?
Yes. It's allowance of harm or doing active harm to someone. And you, I hope, are someone.
Okay. It sounded like you were focusing on everybody else except you, so I just wanted to know if it was also inclusive.
Right, but I'm a psychopathic narcissist, so of course.
So I have a question. Is the allowance of harm, is this in being consciously aware of that someone is potentially suffering, or is this ignorance?
Okay, ignorance is not evil.
Not evil.
In fact, there are some people, Marcus Aurelius, if you remember your Marcus Aurelius, who argued that all evil acts, active or passive, are all ignorant. So he was very, very forgiving. I'm pretty forgiving. I think he's being a tad generous, though. That somebody's engaging in evil act, you just need to stop them immediately. Okay? Maybe. So there are three tendencies that I've noticed when it comes to evil action. You notice I'm not saying evil people. I don't know that they exist. And keep in mind, I say that, I worked for years in prisons. Not just any prison, but Supermax, where the worst of the worst goes. Right? The most repeat offenders, the most violent offenders, etc. But somebody, to use a Christian metaphor, some of the most Christ-like people that I met were behind bars in those facilities. So the three tendencies that I've seen, this is in business, politics, crime, abusive spousal relationships. The first one is dehumanization of the other. Dehumanization of the other. I think there are two terms here I need to define. One is dehumanization, and the other is the other. In certain forms of phenomenology, particularly hermeneutic phenomenology, other, in this sense, is spelled with a capital O. Okay? It's special, this particular definition of other. Other means that this person whom you see, this person whom you experience, has thoughts and feelings and worth and value unto themselves, that they are worthy of your respect, that they are worthy of your regard, they are worthy of your openness. Now, they may prove to be toxic or problematic in a moment, and that way you may need to withdraw. However, their otherness remains. Levinas, Emmanuel Levinas, phenomenology, said that it is the other whose face cries unto you, "Thou shalt not kill. Do not hurt me." And so one of the things that we do is we take the face away from someone else. We do that through dehumanizing someone. In order for me to see your face, in this particular phenomenological sense, I need to see your face as a human being, as someone with thoughts and feelings, somebody who is worthy of my compassion and openness. But if I dehumanize you and I see you then instead as an object, I take your face away. One of the things that was fascinating for me in working with men who killed other people for a living is how often they killed them without being able to see their face. So, hitman for the mafia. His clients, the people he was hired to kill, he would take them out to a shallow grave in a cornfield. He would put them on their knees at the point of a gun, put 2 bullets in their head and 3 in their abdomen. But they were on their knees facing away from him. Right? That's a theme. How often do people who engage in drive-by shootings and gangland kind of wars, how many of them are intoxicated when they do so in order to disinhibit themselves enough to engage in violent action? And the answer is over 90%. It is surprisingly hard to kill another human being insofar as we experience the face of them. What percentage of shots taken in combat are deliberately shot to miss? A lot. Huh? Over 60%. Okay? It is remarkably hard to kill somebody, even in combat, even when they're shooting at you. So the other is someone who we experience as human, someone to whom we can and should be open, someone for whom we can feel compassion or similarity. Dehumanization means we take that away. We turn them into a thing, into an object, and we then treat them like an object. Chantel and I were joking about dentists and psychotherapists a minute ago. And yes, I'm kind of joking. At the same time, I'm also kind of serious.
So they are serious.
They can be. Sometimes it's Machiavellianism, right? And often unintentional. Imagine going into a therapist who treats you like depression. So Chantel's coming to me for therapy. I diagnose her with depression and I treat the depression. Am I treating Chantel? No. Now, that's small e evil, right? That's a little bit of a problem. It's an ethical problem. It's worthy of consideration. We were ranting together in my forensic psychology class 2 weeks ago about Operation Rio Grande in downtown Salt Lake. Okay? So I hope many of you are familiar with this. The city of Salt Lake spent a lot of money to get undesirables out of public view, meaning that loitering, etc., was now a crime. So if you're homeless and you're sleeping on the street, you're going to be arrested for that. Why? Because it was decreasing business. Do you guys get a Machiavellian feel about this? So people are hungry and they're begging for cash or just being their mentally ill state, cells, roaming in circles and muttering. That's driving business away, so let's get rid of them so we can have more money. That's dehumanization of the other. That they're homeless, they're this thing. They're no longer Bob and Betty and Jade and Joe. Instead, they're this thing called homeless. And we treat the thing, we treat the homeless. We don't treat them as people, we don't treat them as others with a capital O. Instead, what we do is we treat them as things. In prison, it was writ large. One day I'm called to a house on Maximum. So it was like a vacation, going from Supermax to Max. And there was a man I was assessing who was threatening to kill himself. And he had a plans, means, and intent. He has regular suicide intervention. It was a serious threat. He had access. So I recommended that he be moved to the infirmary. And I was confronted by another therapist. The therapist says, "Oh, you don't know who his cellmate is." And I went, "You're right, I don't. It didn't come up in the conversation. Why is that relevant?" "Oh, his cellmate's a famous jocker. Everybody knows so-and-so's a jocker, and he's just fucking this guy. He's raping him every night. So the suicide, it's bullshit, it's false. You should have just sent him right back to his cell." Right?
So they can just perpetuate it some more?
The rape, yeah, hey, because here was the reason, because I give reaction like I do, right? What the hell, is this okay? And the reasoning was this, you'll love this. Well, he's a bad guy. He deserves it.
No. No.
And I said, well, he's in the infirmary now. If you wish to file a complaint with the health board, go ahead. Thank goodness my colleague didn't. It would have taken time.